Hello. So today I thought we'd try a new feature, and I'm gonna try to do it at least once a month where I just kind of craft live. I thought it would be kind of fun. So I'm working on a mini album that is designed to be very simple. Just stick 4x6 photos into the whole thing, and it's like a little brag book. So I thought that I would work on it with you guys. So if you want to make it with me, all you need is paper, some chipboard, and some decorative paper, and then a scoreboard. I'm using a scoreboard. You don't need to. You can use a cutter if you don't have a scoreboard. And a paper cutter. That's about it. It's very simple, very easy. I think it'll be very easy. And I'm going to use this design paper. Oh, that's kind of weird. Why is it backwards? All right, give me a second here. Hold on a minute. No, I don't understand. What's going on here? Okay, just give me a second. I'm gonna figure it out. I don't know why it flipped it. This is my first time using this, so just bear with me for a second. Okay, I don't want that. I want... Well, I don't want that either. I don't know why it flipped it. But let's see here. Well, I guess there's not a lot of reading, so I guess we can just figure it out. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to use this Simple Stories paper pad. And I have the 12 by 12 too, and I'll probably end up using a little of both. I got it at Archivers. Since they're closing, I got it clearanced. Or I got it on a really good sale. Okay, well, I guess we can just roll with it and see what happens. So, to start off, I'm going to use white paper because it seemed to match. And the first thing I'm doing is making my pages. And let me show you what the pages actually look like. So this is a page. Okay. What it consists of is a flap here, a pocket here, and then when you turn it over, another flap. Okay. So it's very simple. On top of the flap, we're going to add another pocket here. And then these are just going to be, I might add more pockets as we go, but for right, and then a belly band on this side. But that's it for right now. I want to make it very simple so that I can give it to someone who does not craft. And it will be a quick and easy project. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is just create the page. And I'm working with 8.5 by 11 papers. Okay? What we're going to do is score it. Is that right? Nope. There we go. Okay. What we're going to do is score first. I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to score it at 4 3/4. And then I'm going to score it at 9. Then I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch again. When I turned it, I made sure that the smallest portion, or the 1/2 inch, is at the top, and then there's this little bit here. Okay? So turn it till your 1/2 inch is at the top. Okay? And then we're going to score it at 6 3/4. And that's it. That's the score marks, okay? So you want to do one of these for each page that you want in your book. I want mine to have 6 pages, so I did 6 of them. Okay? And then the next step, with your cutter, you're going to remove a little section. I'll show you after I do it. What I did is I cut down. So here's my 1/2 inch on the side, and then here's the larger section. Let me measure it and I'll tell you what it is. It is 1 3/4 over here. Okay, so I left that the first 1 3/4, and then I cut the rest off. You'll see it better once I actually remove it. I'll do this so you can see better. There. So that's what it looks like right now. I have this 1 3/4 section on here, and the 1/2 inch is at the top and here. Okay. Then I'm going to turn it over and put it back on in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to remove this 1/2 inch section at the same spot. Okay. Just like that. Now that's what my paper looks like. Okay. And then I'm going to take, and here is a corner, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then I have a little square, and I'm just going to cut that off completely, like that. And then we just have one more little cut, and that's going to happen right here. And then we're going to remove this tiny little 1/2 inch section. Okay? And that is what we're left with. Okay? Now you have 2 options for your page. When I made this the first time, I left this flap here on it. And the reason what that did is it created, after you open up a flap, it gave you another flap to open on the inside. For this book, I removed it. So I didn't have you remove it first because you can decide if you want to keep that flap on and have an extra flap in your book or not. For me, I don't want to, so I'm going to remove it for this book. For the other one I made, I left it on, like I said. So now this is what my finished one looks like. And then the last thing I'm going to do, just because I don't want such a big flap here, this last flap that is 1 3/4 inches, I just cut it down to 1 inch because I don't want such a big flap. And you'll see why I did that after we put it together. Okay, so now I'm just going to fold up my 1/2 inches like that. Okay, they're going to become the inside of my pocket, and that's what will create the pocket there. And then I'm going to bring this one over the top. So the 1 inch flap that I left on there, that is going to come over the top of them. Okay, and that is pretty much your page, the base of your page. Now for the next part, you could pretty much get as creative as you wanted to, really. Like I said for mine, I don't want it to be too intricate because I want it to be nice and simple, okay? So for mine, all I left on was this little flap that's not attached now, okay? And I have a pocket here, okay? So I want this side to be closed, and because it's backwards, you want the side that you're going to put the binding on is going to be closed, and then the outside is going to be open, okay? And then what we're going to do is apply our adhesive, which I seem to have lost. Oh, here it is. Let's see here. Just going to put a strip of adhesive on my flap here. Okay. Just like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to set that aside for a moment, and I'm going to get out the second piece of paper that I was working with here. Okay, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces off of it. Well, actually 3, but I'm only going to use 2 of them. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it to 6 3/4. Is it 6 3/4? No. I want to cut it to 6 1/4. Okay? Because I made the finished, my finished page is 6 1/4, so that a 4.5 by 6.5, a 4 by 6 photo will fit directly on it. Okay? So now I have this, and I'm just going to turn it around. And I'm going to cut my first piece off at 4 3/4, and my second piece is going to be at 4 1/4. Okay. The piece that is at 4 1/4, you're just going to apply a strip of adhesive to the top side, or one side of it. It really doesn't matter since it's all. It's just a square essentially. Okay, I'm going to do that and then set it aside. And then this piece, this is your 4 3/4 piece. You're going to score this one at 1/2 inch. This one is 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. Okay, and you just scored it like that. Just a nice simple score mark. Then you're going to fold it up. And then I like to turn mine over and open it so I can easily apply the adhesive. I'm going to put my adhesive on the flap. Do not go over your score marks. Keep it nice and simple. Then we're going to cut this off. And you'll notice when I cut it off, I did it sort of at an angle. Just makes it a little bit easier to attach to your page. Okay. Then I just like to make sure it's really down. All right. So you're going to grab your page. This is your page. You have this flap on there. We're going to lay it down, open it up, and lay it down, and then take off that piece of adhesive. And then you take your 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 piece, the one without the flap on it. Remove your adhesive, and you're going to apply it to the flap, but don't go over the score mark. You want to keep it, a hair, maybe a hair under the score mark, so that your flap will still fold, and that gives you your flap. That's your first flap. Then you're going to turn it over, okay, and you want to make sure to apply this to the top part where this flap is, okay? Because you want your flap to open on the top on both sides. All right. And then we're going to take the one that you made to flap, the 4 3/4 and 6 1/4, and remove your adhesive. Maybe. Okay, remove your adhesive, and then turn your page over so that the flap you've already applied is on the bottom, and make sure that you put this folded edge at the top of your page again, and then you just line it up as best you can. Whoa, my stylus is getting away there. Just line it up as best you can and place it down and then score. Okay. And there we have our page. We have our pocket here and our flip up. But you want it to flip up this way, and then you turn the page and it'll flip up that way. You'll see once we put the binding onto it how it will work. Okay? And so you want to make as many of those as you want in your book. I have 6 of them, and I have them all ready to go now. And then the next thing we should work on is getting our chipboard cut. So you decide the size that you would like your book to be. My pages are 6 1/4, 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and I would like my, let's see here, I'm going to do mine at 6 1/2. Yeah, I'm going to do it 6 1/2 by 4 1/2. So that's the size I want my cover. So I'm just going to get my chipboard cutter out here. And I'm going to cut it to 4 1/2. Actually, it'd be easier if I cut it to 6 1/2 first. Then I only have to do it once. So 6 1/2. Oh, really? Come on. Well, that's not good. Apparently, my cutter doesn't want to work very well. Let's try it one more time. Okay. 6 1/2. Really? What are you doing? Obviously, there is something wrong with... Oh, I see. It is crooked. Whoops. Okay. Sorry. I don't know why it's not working. Well, I do know why now, but it's broken apparently. So let's try it a different way. Okay, let's do this again. Sorry, give me 1 second. I can't find my... Oh, here we go. Just need my cutting mat here. And we're going to cut this. Sorry it's taking so long. Okay. I'm going to cut this at 6.5. I'm not a big fan of using this way of cutting, but I can't use my paper trimmer on my chipboard. It won't work as well. Okay. Alright, and then we're going to do 4.5. I have issues with cutting straight. I can never do it. I don't know that I really like doing it live this way. I used to do Ustream videos a lot, and so I thought that I would try this one, but there's no way for people to write, so I can't get any questions, I guess. Or at least I don't know how to yet. Maybe I just need to do a little more research. Four and a half. Okay, so I have two chipboard pieces that are 4.5 by 4.5, and then for my spine, I need it to be 2 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to there we go. All right. So, oops, I forgot. I gotta cut this down. I need to cut my spine down to, yeah, because I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be like this. So I need to cut this down, and I'm just going to cheat and use my paper trimmer. We'll see if it'll work. There we go. Okay. So there's my spine. Oh no, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, that's right, because I cut it to 4.5. Darn it. And I cut my spine to 4.25. I really hate when I do that. Alright, let's try it again. Got another piece here. We'll cut this one to 2 inches again. 2 inches. Actually, I wonder if I have, yeah. 2 inches and 4.5. Okay. And let me just fix that up real quick. All right. Now this one should work. Yes, it does. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is, normally I would cover it with patterned paper, but I don't want to do that this time. I want to cover it with white paper, and then I'll be putting patterned paper over it. So I'm going to get a sheet of 12 by 12, and I'm going to cut it down to 6 by 12. Just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to glue them together, adhere them together at least, and I'm going to try to make sure that I want the seam to end up on the spine, because I generally cover the spine anyways, so it won't show where I joined the papers. Okay. Alrighty. I'm just going to match them up and try my best to get them straight. I'm not the best at straight, but I'm not really a perfectionist either, so I don't go for perfect. Alright, so now I have a long strip. Probably doesn't fit on the screen very well. There we go. I have a long strip, and I'm going to start out with my spine. And a lot of times I like to use wet glue to put them on, especially if I'm not using patterned paper. But because I'm doing it live, I want it to go quicker, I want it to dry fast. I am going to just use adhesive, and we'll hope that it works. When I'm not doing it on camera, I will use the wet glue because it dries harder, and I feel like it reinforces the spine a little bit too. Alrighty. Just gonna cover it with tape, and then I'm going to stick this right over it. Just right over the center. Not really perfect or exact or anything really. Make sure that it's adhered down really well. I hope that you guys can hear me. It looks like it's coming across, but I don't know for sure. Alright, we just adhere that a little bit better. Then I'm going to take my two covers and apply the adhesive. And I'm not using an archival safe adhesive. I'm not even using a scrapbooking adhesive. I had this left over from putting insulation, window insulation on my window kit, and I thought, hey, that's really strong adhesive, and so I'm going to use it in my books. I don't worry about archival in my mini albums because they are designed to be, you know, looked through and whatnot. I don't expect them to last like I would my 12 by 12 albums, stuff like that. I don't ever expect these to last, especially a little brag book like this. What I expect to happen with this one will be that it goes in a purse and it gets pulled out to show off pictures of a baby or whatever, you know. It's just not the kind of thing that I expect to last forever. Okay, we got that one. Sorry, I should have pre-done this so you didn't have to watch all this boring stuff, but that's part of crafting. Once I get the hang of this, I'm going to try to do more of these live ones. I used to do a lot of Ustream ones, and I liked that a lot until they started charging for it. So I figured I would try it on YouTube and see what happens. And we'll see if it works. I really, really like making the videos, teaching people how to do them, so it's fun for me. Even if no one watches it, it's still fun. Alright, now we put these on, and I'm going to make sure to give myself a good gap in between so that I won't tear the paper when I folded the book. Okay. And yeah, I probably did use a little too much adhesive, but I like to make sure that it's really stuck down. Okie dokie. Oh, shoot. I just threw it right on the floor. Alright. I get my ruler, and I'm going to put it there like that. This is it helps me make sure that I get it nice and straight. And then I have the same size gap on both sides. There we go. I'm giving it about 1/8 of an inch gap. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I wish I could figure out why it was backwards. Guess I'll have to do a little more research before my next one. Alrighty. Okay. I'm going to put that on there again. Actually, let's do this. About 1/8 of an inch gap again. If you're good at just eyeballing it, then do it that way. It's less time consuming. Me, I'm not very good at eyeballing it, so I like to make sure that it's even on both sides. Oops, that was nice. Okay, I'm just going to do that, and then okay, and then I like to fold it over. I like to make sure that I get really squared off edges on my book, so I usually will fold it over and then really press on it like that. And then I also don't need this much in there, so I'm just going to make it a little bit easier to work with and remove some of that. And I might as well do it to the other side too. Okay. So now all I'm going to do is fold this up again just like that to help sort of make the fold nice and tight. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom edges, just kind of get it really in there. And the same thing along the top. And then obviously my paper cracked a little bit, but this is really thin paper, so far it only cracked right on the fold there where it's doubled over. So I'm not going to worry too much about it because it's still doubled, so it's good. Then I'm just going to remove that like that, and that one, and that one, and lastly that one. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive all along the edge of the chipboard. Okay, and then a piece there, like that, and a piece here, like that. And I'm actually going to remove a little bit more of this. I don't want such a big flap because it won't be glued down then. So I'm just going to do like that. So it's kind of the same all the way around. And then I'm going to do that piece, and I'm going to fold it over again because it helps it to remain nice and tight. And it did crack. Sometimes when I have cracking, what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of a clear glue and I'll put it right over it so that it will stay down. This time I just peeled up the piece of paper that was cracking and it seemed to work, so we'll see. It obviously didn't want to fold that much. Okay, fold it over. Really stick it down there and then square off your edges just by running your bone folder along, and you'll notice that it gives you a nice crisp edge. Then we do this one. Oops, I forgot a step. Just fold in your corners to help make it look more professionally done. There we go. Then fold it up and run your bone folder edge along it, and you'll get a nice crisp edge there. Makes it look nicer if you have a nice crisp edge. I'm just pushing in the edges of my thing there so that the paper, so that they fold in nicely like that, and then give it a crisp edge just like that. And there we have it. And then work your paper in the gap that you have to make sure that it all stays in. And we have the beginnings of our book. Okay. Now I'm also going to do the inside in white paper. And I'm going to use the same 12 by 12 paper instead of the 8.5 by 11 because for some reason the 12 by 12 paper that I have is a little bit thinner, and so it will work a little bit better, I think, for the inside. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this to about 4 3/8. Just under 4.5. And I cut 2 of them just in case I need it. I'm not sure. Yep, I will need it. Okay. Just like that. And then I'm going to cut there. Alright. Then I'm going to take this paper and just for time I'm going to use this adhesive because I don't have to peel anything up, and because most of it will be going paper to paper, and this works really good for paper to paper. I like to use the other chipboard or a better tape when I'm going paper to chipboard because it seems like it works a little bit better, but honestly it could all just be in my head. I just tell myself it works better, so therefore it works better. Okay, just press this all down really well and work it really, really well into the center. And I actually forgot a step, but I'm not gonna fix it now. It seemed to be okay. Normally I will apply adhesive here and here on the chipboard and then like all over so that this doesn't, sometimes this will pop up, but it seems like it's down pretty good, so I'm not going to worry about it there. Okay, and then this one right there. Okay. And then really work it good into the crease there, and there we have it. And you'll notice I just left a little gap because I'm not real worried about this being completely covered because my hinges will cover it, so I'm not real worried about that. Okay, so now I guess the next thing then is for us to make our hinge. So what we want to do is I used the hidden hinge system, and you can watch Kathy Orta to figure out how to do it. I did 1/4 inch gussets and 1/2 inch papers. So if you just watch her video, you will learn how to do it really well. I don't want to take it from her, so I will just let you watch her video and see how she does it. But I will, I wasn't prepared all the way, so you can just watch this part. I've already done the scoring, and now all I'm doing now is applying the adhesive to the part that is going to become the hinge, and I'm using score tape to do that. And the reason I'm not using my other tape is because it's too thick. I only have 1/2 inches to work with here, so I just have to use a thinner tape. And I gave myself 6 hinges, and I was able to get that out of an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And I did not give mine, I'm not going to have the flaps on the ends, so mine is a little bit different than hers is because I don't want to put mine together that way. I already have my covers together, so I don't need the flap to hold them together. Okay? Alright. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to do my folds here. And all of my folds are going to, all of the 1/2 inch folds are going to fold back on themselves, and then the other ones will fold the other way. Like I said, watch Kathy Orta's to learn how to make this, and you'll, I mean, if you're not new, you've probably already seen them. If you're not new to scrapbooking, you've probably already seen them. But if you watch hers, you'll learn how to do this because it is a little bit complicated at first. Okay. Then I'm just going to do my gussets here. I know it seems confusing what I'm doing right now, but it's a really, really nice method to make a binding. It took me a little bit of time to figure it out exactly, and a little bit of messing with it. I prefer not to use the flaps to put my book together because then it doesn't work as well for me. But she does it really amazingly, so it works really well for her. Once I take the flaps off, then it works really well. And I also try really hard to make sure not to put my pages all the way to the edge of the fold there. Okay. All I'm doing right now is pressing together what's going to be the actual hinge. Where I put the adhesive, and then you can see my hinge coming together. And then I just like to work it out a little bit, make sure that all of my things turn like they should. Just like that. Make sure they all go back and forth nice and easy. And then, and also she uses Tyvek on hers too to make it last longer. I don't ever do that to mine, and I've never had an issue with my hinge system not working the way that it was supposed to. So, for me, I don't need to. For hers are really designed to just last forever, and so I would use them if you're making her projects. But for like a break book like this, I don't know. I guess it depends on how rough you're going to be with it. Okay, all I did here, the part that I do differently than she does, is I have a 1-inch flap on each side of mine, and what I'm going to do is fold that underneath it, so I don't have the flap, because I don't really need it. I mean, I could just cut it off if I really wanted to, but it feels a little bit better to fold it underneath it, and then it seems a little more finished, I guess. Okay. So there we go. All I'm going to do here is remove the adhesive and very carefully stick that down. And I just put a little bit of adhesive right on the edge there, and then stick it down like that. And then I'm just going to make sure that all of my gussets are stuck down where they should be, and that they all work like they should. Okay, so there's that. Just fold it under just a little bit, and we still have a really good binding system here. And then this is just going to stay there. And I may have made it a little bit too big. We'll see. It might be just a hair bigger than my spine, but that's okay. Maybe I didn't account for the folding. I don't know. What I'm doing now is I'm going to apply adhesive to the whole back. I'm just going to completely cover the back of this with adhesive, and you want a good strong adhesive for this because you don't want it to pull up from your chipboard when you are opening the book or turning the pages or anything like that. You just don't want it to pull up. I'm just making sure that it's really stuck down. Okay. And then I gotta pull it off so I can overlap one, because I don't have enough space. No! Alright. Then I'm going to put this piece back on because I want to adhere the last piece, and I don't want it to stick to my desk. Press them all down really, really well. The adhesive is adhered to my spine really well then, or my hinge system really well. And then I can remove it. You have two options at this point. You could attach your pages before you attach this to your book, or you can attach this and then attach your pages. It's really a matter of preference. Alrighty, and then I'm just going to take this and try my best to make sure that this little piece here is centered directly on my spine here. And then really just make sure that the adhesive is touching your spine everywhere so that it will keep a good stick. I also find that if I was patient for this part, a wet glue works really well to stick it down to, and then you don't have to worry about it coming up. It stays down really well. Okay, so that's my book so far, and you can see here a little bit, I don't know if you can tell for sure, but see the little tiny gap that's in there? That happened because I made mine just a hair too small. So what I should have done is just made my gap just a little bit bigger, but that's okay. It's not going to affect it too much. It's not going to make it bad, so I'm good with it. Okay, now comes where we attach our pages, okay? What you want to do for sure is make sure your opening is not getting attached. And you don't want your flaps to be attached down either. Okay? And I have apparently made mine just a hair too big, so what I'm going to do is miter my corners just a little bit. I'm just going to cut the corners off so that it will look more finished when it's done. If you want your hinge to show, it works better than to mat your pages first if you want your hinge to show if you did it in pattern paper. I don't generally like my hinge to show. I like to keep it hidden. But if you want it to show because you've done it in pattern paper or whatever, then mat your papers before you put them on, okay? And then also, if you want to leave this end open so that you can fit it right onto the thing, that's how Kathy does hers. You can do that. I don't like to do that to mine because it takes away a little bit of the inside. And I don't want to do that. I want as much of the inside pocket as I can have. Okay? So then all you have to do is to decide if you want your attachment to be on the front of your page or on the back of your page. And then you do the same thing for all of them. I'm going to go ahead and put mine on the back, which means I need to apply adhesive here. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and use this adhesive, which will come off the page a little bit, but I'm not worried because I'm going to cover them anyways. Make sure that you do not put your adhesive so far down that it will interfere with your opening and closing, okay? I keep mine like a hair above the score mark usually. I try to anyways. With the white paper, sometimes it's a little harder to see the score mark. But the easiest way to know if it's going to interfere, before you attach your page, test the flap and see if it still moves as freely as it did before. I did it again. Dang it. This is why it would work better with a smaller adhesive, because then I wouldn't risk going over it, but I want to use this adhesive up, and it's really, really strong, so I will just deal with the extra hassle. I did it again. That's going to take me off. Come on now. If I do it anymore, I'm going to pull up this paper, and then that won't be good. There we go. Now it does it. Might be easier too if I wasn't doing white on white. Yep, there we go. Okay. Two more. And you can see all of my things move freely. And I just have one more to put on. Okay. Oops. That one I overlapped again. There we go. All right. Now I officially have them all on. I just have to remove the tape a little bit here. I just have to cut off my extra tape. Sorry, I'm off camera for this part. It's kind of hard to cut into the book. I should have applied the tape before I put them into the spine, but that's okay. You live and you learn, right? Alright, now we have all of those pieces in there where they should be. Now comes the tricky part. I like to start with the back of the book and work my way up. Okay, just kind of get all of those ones out of the way. Grab remove it. Take my page, and again, make sure that you're up away from the spine. The easiest way for me to do that with the pages themselves is to sort of apply it and then close them and make sure that it closes, and then seal it on there. And I have my flaps up right now because it will interfere with the tape, and I don't want it to. So right now it looks silly, but it won't in a minute. There we go. Remember to make sure that you're still putting your opening at the top of your book, or where, so it's not closing up your pocket. That part is important if you want to have the pocket. Pocket there. If you don't want a pocket, then that part doesn't really matter for you. Sometimes when I'm making a mini album to give to someone who is not a scrapbooker, I don't even bother with pockets, because I'll notice a lot of times after I give them, they won't even look at the pockets because they don't know that they are there. And so then a lot of times it sort of seems pointless to me. There we go. All I'm doing now is just putting my flappy dealies down. There we go. And now you can see that it is starting to look like a real book. I know on the video it looks like I'm opening it the wrong way, but I'm really not. Okay. So you can get an idea of what it's going to look like now. This is our pages. They turn like that. Okay, you have a flap that goes up like that, and then when you turn it, you have a flap that goes up like that, and you have a pocket in there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is on this one, we're going to make another a pocket out of the pattern paper, sort of. And then on this one, we're going to put a belly band so that things can slide in and out of them. Okay? So now you have a general idea of your book, and you know what it's going to look like. All I need to do is clear up a tiny bit of space here. And now we get, let me just get this garbage out of the way. Before we start on a new part, I just like to clean up my trash a little bit. And now we get out our pattern paper. And the first thing we're going to do then is work on the pockets. I am using, do I have, yep, here it is. I'm using this one from Simple Stories. Sorry, you can't read it. It's backwards, of course. But it has lots of add-ons and pattern papers and fun little stuff. So I thought it would make a fun year in review type of album. or, you know, favorite pictures from the year. Each page will be a month. There's month calendars in here, right here. So I'll put each page, I'll put these on each of the pages too. And then it will be kind of cool, I think. We shall see what happens. Okay. So first, when I make a mini album, the first thing I like to do before I cut anything, because the cover is always bigger, I always pick my cover pages first. I don't know, it looks like I have some viewers, and if you guys have any questions, you can type them if you can figure out where to type them. I think I can see them. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. Alright. So the first thing I'm going to do is with my 12 by 12 papers, I'm going to go ahead and pick my cover. This one came with sticker sheets too. I'm just going to set those aside because I don't need those right away. The first thing I'm going to do is pick my cover, and I believe I want... Oh, did I lose it? No. Oh, there it is. I want this on my cover. So I'm going to do something like that. Yeah, just like that. Okay. And hopefully, oh darn it, I'm going to have to cut a little off the end so I can get the whole Life is Beautiful on there. Okay, but so that's going to be my cover. I'm just going to set that aside, and I'll probably make that the back and the spine as well. And then the rest of the pages I can use for whatever. I'm going to take out these ones, this one, and the rest of those are all to be cut up for certain things. So these are the ones I'm going to use to make the pockets. I need 6 more pockets on the top. I'm going to make 6 pockets for the top flap so that when you open it, you'll have another pocket. And then these will be the ones that I just mat with because they'll be good for that. Okay? So to make our pocket, what we're going to do is I'm going to make a different kind of pocket. I'm going to create a pocket that is a pocket here and here and along the top a little bit, but then it kind of folds over because these are double-sided papers. I think that'll look cool, and it'll be a fold-over type of opening, and then you can pull out the photograph. My main goal was to keep these so that they only would have to worry about 4x6 photos, but this pocket here I think is going to end up being a little bit smaller because we want to mat it. We don't want it to be the whole size of that. So I'll have to adjust for that, but that's okay. So what I want to do is I want to figure out my measurements, and I know that my pages are 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So I want my mat here to be 4x6, the finished size. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have a 1/2 inch on this side. So I know I need it to be 6 1/2, and I need 1 inch on the top and bottom. So I need it to be 6 1/2 by 5. Okay, and I'll show you why I do that or how I came up with that in a second. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to cut it to 5. Okay, and I'm just going to set that aside, and then I'm going to cut it to 6 1/2. Okay, and then I'm going to save the leftovers because they'll be good for pockets. Alright, and then I'm going to take this piece here, and with my scoreboard, now I'm just trying this without having actually tried it before, So I'm not 100% positive that it's going to work, but we'll find out, won't we? I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch. Okay, on the top and the bottom. So on the 5-inch side, I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to turn it, making sure that the part that I want to be over on this side, this is how the pocket's going to be. So I want to score 1/2 inch here. Okay. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to remove these 2 squares. I'm going to cut off this square that my scoring created and this square that my scoring created, okay? And then I'm going to do my folds here. What did I do with it? I think I may have lost it. Here it is. Okay. Fold up my pockets. Now you could do this without having to add these flaps, but then you lose, if you just put the adhesive right on the pocket, you'll lose quite a bit of space, and so I don't like to do that. Okay, so now I have my pocket. Once I put this on, glue all of these, that's going to create the pocket, okay? But what I want to do is I want to fold this down so that the bottom part shows up. So I'm not going to get real decorative about it. I'm just going to sort of, or real technical, I'm just going to fold it. So just like that, okay? And then I'm going to open it up because I don't want this part on there. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to replace, I'm going to cut this little tiny part of it off. You'll see what I mean in a second. Okay, just going to remove that. Just like that. Okay? And so then we'll get our page here. And once it's on your page, that's what it's going to look like. And you'll have a little pocket here. And that'll be perfect. So all we need to do now is adhere this down because we don't want it to flap up. We want it to stay down. So we're going to put adhesive along there. Okay. Stick it down and then turn it over, and we're going to put our adhesive on our flaps. Just like so. Now, if you want to, before you put this down like this, you're going to want to try to put a pattern paper down there. Okay? So I'm going to just, like what you would do is like this remainder you could put down there, but not the same one. So what I'm going to do is, actually I should have done this before I put the adhesive on. I'm just going to slide it out of the way, and I'm going to get another one and cut it exactly the same as I cut the other one, 5 by 6.5. I'm going to cut this to 5. Just like that. Stick that out of the way. And then 6.5, like that. And then, so this one I'm going to hold on to because this is going to be a lining for another pocket. And I'm going to do it to another one. But on this one, I want to keep, well, let's just see what I can do here. I don't have enough to do them all. I can't use the 6x6 paper for this because I won't be able to get a big enough piece because I won't be able to have it by 6.5, so I have to use these. So I think what I'll do is I'll just double up. Okay, 6.5 by, or 5 by 6.5, there we go. And then because I need 3 of them, I'm going to need to do these again. I might as well just do them all at once. I'm going to cut this to 5, and because it is reversible, then what I'll do is I'll just use the other side. Okay, I'm going to keep those, and then I'm going to do this and cut this down to 6.5, just like so. And there we have it. Okay. Then I'm going to take these, I might as well just do all my scoring right up front. I'm going to do 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/2 inch. So essentially I scored it at 1/2 inch on 3 sides. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/2 inch. And then again, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/2 inch. And like I said, if you wanted to do this with 6x6 paper, you can skip this part. You don't have to do the flaps. You just lose a little bit of pocket space. And I like to have all of the space that I can have. There we go. And whoops. Lastly, and if you don't have double-sided paper, you can do this with double-sided paper too. You just have to, you just would mat, or cut out a little triangle and put it on this part that you folded over. Alrighty. All I'm gonna do is remove that square and that square, and I'm going to do the same thing on all of them. Remove the square, that one, and that one. And it's quite easy. It's really not all that complicated. Oh no! Did I do the wrong one? Oh no, I just can't see the other one, the other square mark. That's funny. Okay. So now we have that. Throw those away. And we decide I want to make sure that I don't do 2 of the same so that each side is different. That one and that one, and then we're going to fold this one down like that. Open it up and cut it off. It's sort of cracking, but it's okay. And I'm just going to cut this off like this. I really don't like when paper cracks, but what can you do? Since this has a very white base to it, it really doesn't matter too much that it's cracking. It doesn't show up a whole lot, except for where there's color, I like this colorful one right here. And yep, bring it down like that. Open it up. If you wanted to leave that too, you could, if it adds to your design. For me, I don't think it adds to it. It kind of takes away from it, but it's all up to what you like. I like this one too. I just bought this whole collection for something like $6 at Archivers since they're closing, so I really like it. I've always been a fan of the Simple Story paper pads. I don't know why I love them. I just really do. They're fun for mini albums because they have so many things that you can put in pockets and whatnot. I think if you're making this for a kid too, it would also be fun to, instead of using the white for the base of your book, to use colored paper in different colors, because there's so many colors in this paper collection that you could use all sorts of colors to make your base book too. If I was thinking, I may have used color for my cover, but I wasn't, so it's okay. Open it up and boom. And we're just about done with this part. Okay. We got that all done. Now I'm just going to go around and glue down my flap. Okay. Then make sure they all stuck down really well. Okay. Then we take our extra pieces that we cut off and we determine which one looks best with which. I think I like that one a lot with that. So what I'm going to do is I just need enough to cover it. So I'm just going to cut like that. And I'm going to take all of my pages and I'm going to cut them all to the same size. Actually, perhaps I will just do a couple at a time because I don't know if my cutter can handle 6 of them. I'm going to hold on to those too just in case. And alright, now we have those, and all we have to do is put the right ones with what we want. I don't want that one. I want this one with it like that. Okay. I'm not going to attach them because I want them to be attached to the page. I don't like that one. Do I like that one? There's a lot of white going around, so it's hard to mix them up. There we go. And then I think I'll do that one. Looks good. And I think on this one I'll do that. No, I'll do that one. And then, have I done the thought bubbles? Nope. I'll do that one. And, nope. That one. I really like the thing, so I know I'm going to break my rule and do that one twice. Okay? So then we grab our paper, and I don't want that one to be right on the cover. I'm going to do this one on the first page. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to apply adhesive directly to this. Okay. And then put this piece with, no, I want to put, actually what I'm going to do is put this piece down first. Because then if I mat the inside, it will help the flow, I think. Whoops. Alright, so I've got my adhesive on my flaps, and I'm just going to line it up there. Just like so, trying my best to get it even all the way around. And there we have that. And then I'm going to take this one with the adhesive on it already, and I'm going to slide it in. Generally, I can slide it pretty easily. So make sure it's where I want it. And there we go. And then we are going to turn the page and do this one. Let's make this one this one. So I'm going to apply my adhesive here. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, and like that, like that, and there. Do the same thing, line it up really well, just like that. Take this piece, open it up, just make sure that your thing is open, and it should slide in nice and easy. Just like that. There we go. And then you have a lovely pocket there. Okay. Close that. And let's do another one. What did we decide? This one's going to be that one. Right? Is it? Yeah, I think I'll leave that one. And this one is going to be that one. And that one, and we slide it in. Oh no, that's not right. Well, that makes it easier. If we do that, then we don't have to slide it in. if you put it in there like so, then you can put it down and make it work for you. That's perfect. Okay. Alrighty. And we're going to put adhesive here. Sometimes as I work, I find a better way to do things. Generally, when I do that, though, it's right when I'm on my last one. And I hate that. Alright. So if we take this, stick it in there like so, all the way to the top. Stick it down. Then it is perfect. And we stick this lined up right where we want it to go. And we have a nice little pocket again. Okay, let's do this one next. Okay, take this, stick it in there like so, bring it out to the edge, boom, and then put it right in our book, and there we go. And then the last one, like that. And if you don't want to do all this extra work and have this pocket, you do not have to do that either. I mean, this book is very versatile. You could do all sorts of things to it if you wanted to, you know. It doesn't have to have the pockets. It doesn't have to have the belly band. It doesn't even have to have the flip-ups if you don't want it to. If you don't put the flip-ups, I wouldn't make such a large gusset. But, I mean, you could essentially just make this an album to put, you just glue the pictures right to it, you know. You can get real creative if you want to. Alright, or you can just get real basic too. Okay, so now we want to put our belly bands. Okay, but to do that, the first thing we want to do is mat them, because the belly bands are going to go, well, you could put the belly bands on first, I guess, if you really wanted to. What I want to do for my belly bands is, because I want a separation, I'm going to make my belly band out of white first, and then I will put the pattern paper over the belly band and do that. However, I'm going to take a little break for a minute, and I will come right back, okay? So just bear with me for a minute, and I will be right back. Give me about 5 minutes.